Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mundane Matt, and yep, we're going to be talking about Donald Trump and something that I'm going to call him out on because I believe this needs to be done. This isn't an attack on our president. This is more of a call to him to clarify and reinforce a stance that he has made clear 5 times since January 24th, and that would be that the Dakota Access Pipeline and the Keystone Pipeline both be produced with American-made steel. And that was something, like I said, he has said this 5 times. Most recently at the CPAC speech he gave a couple weeks ago, where he said it's going to be made with American steel or not at all. I would like it to be not at all because I also oppose both pipelines. All right, that being said, I also oppose the hipsters coming out to stand in solidarity with the people out there that are trying to protest these things, and of course trashing the joint, turning it into like a Burning Man style festival. And then when the camp gets raided by the local feds, they leave everything behind, including their animals, because they did and because they suck. But the point is, these pipelines are going to happen, whether we want them to or not. Progress, manifest destiny, whatever you want to call it, is going to happen. But when Trump comes out and says 5 times, not once, not twice, but 5 fucking times, that he is requiring that these pipelines be made with U.S. produced steel, you would kind of want him to hold true to that, right? If he is taking that nationalist approach and he is very much trying to be the president that he wants to be, that we all want him to be, then you figure he would stand up and say something when it turns out that about 40% of the steel coming in for these pipelines, not American made. Now, to I guess defend that to an extent, right? And this is kind of how the administration is kind of deflecting from the controversy of this, right? Trump saying one thing, reality being something else. That does happen quite a bit with him. They're saying, oh well, these particular executive orders, these apply to pipelines that are going to be made, right? Even though Trump has said specifically Keystone. All right, and that's the thing, is that that is not American steel. And if you want it to be done, then you should enforce American steel. The way that the builders of the pipeline are saying is that they've already ordered the steel, they have the steel, it would be too hard to send it back. Yeah, well, fuck that shit. No, seriously, fuck that shit. You want American steel to finish up these pipelines, which are on track to be done, I think this year or next year. Then if you want them done with American steel and they're sitting on product that's coming from another country, then you get rid of that product. You kick that shit back to the fucking curb. And the administration trying to deflect that is saying, well, he means future, right? He means future pipelines. That is a constant problem in the Trump administration, is he says one thing and everyone else comes out and says something else. Like, oh, no, he meant this. It's like, what's going on? Is he the president, or is he just spouting off his fucking top on shit that he knows nothing about, making promises he can't fucking keep, and then his administration is desperately trying to spin it in order to make it appear like he is? Because that is a problem. And if we're only 6 weeks into his presidency, and there have been numerous cases of this shit happening. So it's one of those things where it's like, it needs to be addressed. Regardless of your stance on Trump as a person or a politician or as the president, these are things that do absolutely positively need to be addressed. Because they've authorized the constructions are going to happen, it's going to be built, but if he's saying with American steel and that's not what's going on, come on. If none of his fans say this to him, if none of his voters say this to him, then they're just backing up more lies. They're complicit in the lies that he tells, and that is a problem. And those people out there might say, oh, well, Obama did something similar. Obama's not in office anymore, all right? That has nothing to do with anything, okay? And had people been more aware of this kind of shit, because I will say the media softballed the fuck out of Obama quite a bit, and Obama was aloof, and he very much felt like he was the smartest guy in the room, and that didn't do well for his legacy. These are things that we are in this time, and we have to be aware of that, and we have to call this shit out. Because for us to get better as a country, we need to have accountability. We need to make sure that we hold our elected leaders accountable to the words that they say. And if Trump can get away with saying 5 times that the Keystone and Dakota Access Pipeline will be built with American steel and not actually following through on that, that is some distrustful shit, and we need to, well, be aware. Now, here's where things get interesting, and we start talking again about Mother Russia, because god damn it, we cannot get away from Russia. All right, like it's everywhere now. Whether connections are serious or just ancillary, it's there. It's on the forefront of everyone's discussions, and when it comes to this particular topic, it still ties back to Russia. So again, just to be aware, here's what's going on. January 24th, 4 days after Trump becomes president, he signs the executive order basically fast-tracking the Dakota Access Pipeline and the Keystone XL Pipeline, okay? And he says, you know, he wants usage of American steel. Now, he's told us on 5 separate occasions, American steel only or it ain't going to get made. But in the executive order, it says maximum extent possible. That is not an absolute. That is very much like well, our wording is going to indicate just a wee bit of wiggle room in order to make sure that we kind of stay true to what we're saying. All right, so in this situation, TransCanada, who owns and is developing the Keystone XL Pipeline, has a deal to get steel from all over the world. Okay, from all over the world is where they get their steel. But 40% of that steel that's manufactured in Canada is actually a subsidiary of Evraz, which is owned partially by Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich. Now, Abramovich is a close personal friend of Putin's and a family friend of Trump, who actually has in fact lobbied against US-made steel for these pipelines. So there is a lot of money being spent on the steel, 40% of which that's coming out of Canada. That money is going back to Russia. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything that is negative that's happening here. I'm not trying to imply that there is any kind of double dealings or anything like that. I don't know, anything could happen. But like I said, this all still continues to tie back to Russia, all right? Like if Trump is coming out there and he's saying, we are going to use American-made steel or this is not happening, and he has said that multiple times. Even at CPAC a couple weeks ago, he said the same fucking thing. And then he is not enforcing that, and TransCanada is not using American steel, and they're getting their stuff from a company that is partially owned by a Russian steel oligarch. I mean, that is, you know, that's cause for concern, right? It's at least enough to go to Trump and say, the fuck, bro. Like, you're saying one thing and doing another. Now, his spokespeople have, again, tried to wiggle away from this by saying, well, you know, I mean, it's like, yeah, we want to, but they've already purchased it, so what are you gonna do? You send it the fuck back. That's what you do. You send it the fuck back. You charge them for it, you send it back, you buy American steel, and that would instill some faith in the nationalist approach that Trump has been taking. That would instill some faith in the American people, and it would keep American jobs here. Not future pipelines that are going to probably be riddled by a whole bunch of crap from protests and everything else. If this stuff is happening right now, and he's saying these things, and we as a people need to hold him accountable. But the question is, how many people out there are going to try to hold him accountable? How many people out there actually give a shit about this? And the thing is, not many people out there give much of a fuck about this pipeline. I'm not a fan of it. I'd much rather us start to focus our energies on trying to use renewable sources. I know that's hard to do, but that's what I see right there. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Trump needs to be held accountable for these things? Do you think that this is really no big deal? This is business as usual? Or do you think that to some extent, Trump is saying one thing, but not actually following through? And if that is how you feel, how would you like to hold him accountable to what he says? And do you think that we're actually even able to hold him accountable? Some questions. Also, if you guys haven't already, thumbs up the video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Check back often for more content from me. Check out the videos to the right over here. Cover movie news and my own personal vlogging channel. And I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a fantastic day. My name is Mundane Matt, and peace out.